and welcome back into the Nesson Digital Studios. Courtney Cox alongside Doug Kyed. Pats and Texans. We are at halftime.
We are.
13-10 the score. Pats have the lead. In the first half, we talked about this. If you missed our show pregame, we talked a lot about Brady. Doug said he was just going to see 1 to 2 series. He saw a whole lot more than that.
Did he? I think he saw 2 series. He did play more than expected. Yes, that is fair. That is fair to say.
It seemed like he was out there the whole time.
It did. Jimmy Garoppolo did eventually come in, but yeah, I thought he looked pretty good. I mean, he did throw the near interception.
Panic mode.
Panic mode. That's when everyone goes into panic mode.
Sound the alarms.
Tom Brady's 40 years old and suddenly he's lost it. But no, that was a really good play by the Texans cornerback. Did not stay in bounds on the play, but. Yeah, I mean, I thought Brady played well. I don't think it's making anyone go into a full-on panic. He went, 6 of 9 for 67 yards with the touchdown. And, all things considered, did pretty well out there.
He seems calm, cool, and collected, too. You look at him on the sideline, he just is enjoying himself.
It's funny, too, because even in one of the huddles, he started yelling at Rex Burkhead a little bit after one of the big plays. And I wasn't sure if it was like him getting amped because Burkhead had just made a good play, or if Burkhead had done like one tiny thing wrong and Brady's already in regular season mode and like getting all fired up out there and laying into his teammates. But no, he looks like himself, and I will say that it was kind of strange on the near interception that he threw there. Andre Howell caught the ball and then got 1 foot in, then got his elbow out of bounds and his butt landed out of bounds. For some reason, the ref said that it wasn't an interception because he didn't have complete control of the ball, which that just wasn't the case. I mean, yeah, he didn't have complete control of the ball, but even if he did, he didn't get his body in bounds. So, no, all things considered, wasn't an interception. Not the greatest throw, but still really good play by the Texans cornerback.
Well, you bring up Burkhead. He had the sole touchdown of the game. So what have you seen out of him so far in the first half?
Good things so far. Yeah. I mean, this is his Patriots preseason debut. Got the stats here, 7 carries for 20 yards, and then another 3 catches on 3 targets for 50 yards with a touchdown. The big thing here is that Mike Gillislee still has a hamstring injury. Mike Gillislee really has not practiced much. We only saw him on a few fully padded practices. Looked good in practice as a early down runner, but since then he's been out, which has led Rex Burkhead to take some of those early down carries. Had a big game here. If he continues to assert himself in the preseason, he could be that starting running back for the Patriots this season. He's a little bit more undersized than the Patriots usually like to see in their early down backs. LeGarrette Blount was 250 pounds. Corey Dillon was 225, 230.
Not small.
Stephen Ridley was big. Rex Burkhead is 210 pounds, but he can run hard, which we saw a little bit of out there today. It seems like he'll definitely be a favorite of Patriots fans, and good reason so far. He could be that guy for all you fantasy football players out there.
Well, you talk about favorites, and there is a Patriots favorite that is on the field tonight that we did not think was going to see any playing time tonight. Rob Gronkowski.
Yes.
He teased us with that Instagram today, and he wasn't lying. It was game day.
No.
He is on the field. What do you make of this decision?
It's a little strange.
Right.
He messed up that new haircut, too, with his helmet and everything.
The helmet, yeah.
I don't know. It's weird because he wasn't targeted. And by the way, you're right. I think Brady did play 3 series, so I was wrong on that one. I was trying to give myself too much credit.
Right, Doug. At Doug Kyed, tweet at him.
Yeah, I know. I'm just all over the place. But yeah, Gronk, I don't know. It's strange. Like I said, wasn't targeted. I don't know why you even risk putting him on the field out there. Maybe it's just to mess with all of us. Maybe it's just to get him some early reps out there and not just force him into a game in week 1. I mean, quite honestly, so this is the first time he's played a preseason game since 2012, which means that 2013, 14, 15, and 16 wasn't in the preseason. It wasn't really working out that well for them.
Right.
He kept getting hurt. So maybe they're trying a different approach this year, seeing if he can get some of these preseason reps. Maybe that will get his body accustomed to taking these hits early or getting out there early, and maybe that will help him fend off injuries when he's out there at 100%. He's also working with Alex Guerrero this offseason, so maybe the Patriots just see him being in a better place this offseason.
Tom Brady's
fitness guru,
yeah.
slash body coach. But I mean, I'll also say that Gronk did have the back surgery last. What was that? That was in November, I believe. Yeah. And he was healthy enough to be in WrestleMania. He was healthy enough for spring practices. He's been healthy enough for all of training camp. So maybe it's also just the fact that He's been healthy this whole offseason after having that back surgery. I think he recovered months and months ago. Maybe they just think he's healthy enough to put him out there at this point.
Well, it also throws a wrench into our conspiracy theory for this game. We were saying that maybe Bill Belichick, is trying to throw off the Texans. They do see them week 3. So that's a quick turnaround for them. And I don't think Bill Belichick wants to show any of his cards. But tonight, you see Stephon Gilmore out there, showing his best self. And you see Gronk out there. So I guess the conspiracy theory isn't so.
Yeah, we'll cross that one off the list there, that conspiracy.
I was kind of looking forward to it.
I liked the theory. I thought I had something there. But I will say that since they are playing in week 3, they aren't showing all of their cards. There were, just the fact that Rex Burkhead, 7 carries and 3 catches in what Brady probably had only about 15 snaps, and Rex Burkhead was touching the ball for 10 of them. The fact that there's so many handoffs, the fact that there's so many dump-offs, I think that means that they are kind of showing a vanilla offense out there. The fact that they didn't target Gronk, maybe they're keeping that one close to the vest as well. So they're not putting it all out there for the Texans, but they are putting out almost all of their offensive and defensive starters. We'll say that the one guy who's in uniform who's held out was Trey Flowers. I think that's really smart, though, because the Patriots are so low at defensive ends. If Trey Flowers got hurt, I don't know what they would do at that point heading into the season, because that would mean that you'd be down to Geno Grissom and Caleb Kidder and Coney Ealy and a bunch of linebackers. So Trey Flowers might be the most irreplaceable player on this roster. That sounds crazy to say, since he only really had 1 season of being a high-impact player. But they really can't afford to lose him, so don't even risk him in this preseason game. All
right, now 2 guys that we kind of pinned up against each other in our pregame talk was O'Shaughnessy and Hollister.
Yes.
Hollister getting the start in week 1 or preseason game 1. Now we see O'Shaughnessy, who's also having a hot start. So now when you see these 2 guys next to each other, what's going through your mind?
Yeah, it's just still a battle out there. I mean, O'Shaughnessy looked good. He caught a 15-yard pass out there from Jimmy Garoppolo. I think it was Garoppolo's first pass of the game. So I think that they're going to be probably a little bit neck and neck, and it's going to be about the little things out there about who ultimately makes the roster over whom. And honestly, they could keep 4 tight ends too. And we haven't really considered that this summer really, but if they like Hollister enough, then they'll make room for him somehow, and maybe he'll be inactive for most of the year. Maybe he'll play that DJ Foster role from a year ago where he's on the active roster, but he's not on the game day roster just because they like him so much. But they gave him $90,000 as a signing bonus. That's more than some draft picks. So that shows how much they do value Hollister. Whether he makes the roster or not really depends on how he does in these preseason games, whether O'Shaughnessy can make an impact on special teams, whether O'Shaughnessy can prove that he can be an impact as a receiver, and they could even keep both. So we'll just kind of have to see how those two do. Well,
in the first half, one of my favorite, most exciting parts was Patrick Chung with the forced fumble, Stephon Gilmore picking it up, recovering it. That's nice to see that in preseason. Nice to see guys getting physical and causing turnovers like that.
It was an almost big play by Stephon Gilmore because it was ultimately called an incompletion, but nice jam by Patrick Chung to get that ball out. Nice awareness by Stephon Gilmore to pick it up and bring it back. And he could have had a big play on that return too. But it's even if the play doesn't count, it's kind of the same thing on the Texans side with Andre Hall. He made a nice near interception, which Texans coaches are going to see and like. Same goes for Chung and Gilmore on the near big turnover there as well.
Right, Bill Belichick must like to see that.
Yes.
Also, Dion Lewis.
Yeah, Dion Lewis.
It was like he was unstoppable. He had that run down the middle that he was just taking guys out left and right with the ball.
Yeah, and that's interesting because Dion Lewis was a guy that we thought not a lock heading into this game, a near lock, and he might be edging into that lock category. I only didn't have him as a lock to make this roster because the Patriots have so many other running backs. They've got Mike Gillislee, they've got Rex Burkhead, they've got James White. So if they needed to make room for either Brandon Bolden or Jacob Hollister or Austin Carr, maybe they would only be willing to carry 3 running backs. But Lewis is really forcing the issue. Another guy with a big game so far, 7 carries for 34 yards, 1 catch for 9 yards. So he keeps doing it.
Yeah.
He's absolutely going to be on this roster because you can never really have enough running backs. The Patriots found that out the hard way in 2015 when they had to sign Steven Jackson off the street, and he did nothing for them whatsoever. And that's really one of the reasons why they lost in the AFC Championship game to the Broncos that year, so they got nada out of their running backs.
All right, well, the Patriots are starting to take the field now, so we have to leave you some parting words. Devin McCourty must be sweating out there. He has on a long sleeve shirt underneath his jersey, and it's hot.
Yeah, I don't know why guys do this to themselves.
It's crazy.
Devin seems like he's in pretty good shape, too. One other parting word, Cyrus Jones, nice punt return. So
there you go.
That's what he needs. He needs like 20 more of those for Patriots fans to get back on his side, but it's a good start. He also played decently on defense. I'll leave it at decently. Decent.
All right, well, we will be back after the game, some post-game talk. You want to make sure to follow along on Twitter at Doug Kyed or at Cox Courtney. Make sure to come back. Nesson Facebook page and Nesson YouTube page. We will be live after the game, so come chat with us. But for Doug Kyed, I'm Courtney Cox. Football's back. Enjoy the rest of the game.